Thank God it's Monday. Welcome to Business Morning on Channels Television. Bright and early. We'll do 55 minutes of current and relevant business here on Channels Television. I'm Amy John Mekwa. Let's dive right into it. Oil prices fell on Monday after China released much delayed trade data. Remember, we're waiting for this last week, which showed that demand in the country, which is the largest crude importer, remained lackluster in September as strict COVID-19 policy and fuel export curbs depressed consumption. Brent crude futures for December settlement slid 40 cents to $93.10 a barrel, and that's after it rose 2% last week. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude for December delivery was at $84.66 a barrel. That's $9.39 cents. Despite rising from August, China's crude imports in September of 9.79 million barrels per day were 2% below the amount brought in a year earlier as independent refiners curb throughput amid thin margins and lackluster demands. We're still talking about oil now, but this time we're talking about palm oil. Prices are likely to strengthen further as excessive rain in key producing countries curbs outputs while demand increases for its use in food, bath and biofuels. Palm oil prices have climbed by around a fifth this month, but are still trading far below an all-time high set in March. The expected spike in prices will add to the burden of consumers already hit by inflation triggered by Russia-Ukraine war, but higher exports and lower production would help major palm oil producers like Indonesia and Malaysia, and that will bring down their inventories. Traders said in November shipments of crude palm oil to India, which is the world's biggest importer, are being offered at $976 per ton. That's inclusive of costs, insurance and freight. January deliveries are being quoted at $1,010 per ton. Now, we come to Nigeria now. The United Arab Emirates immigration authorities have announced a visa ban on Nigerians, adding that all submitted applications are rejected and fees non-refundable. Although no reason was given for the ban, the Dubai authorities declared that all applications were on hold until issues between the UAE government and the Nigerian governments were resolved. Meanwhile, a total of 542 stranded Nigerians in the United Arab Emirates have been repatriated by the federal government. Now, let's see if we can understand perhaps some silent tones behind this. So we have joining us for that Austin Adepo. He's the CEO of Gatewin Travels and Tours, and he joins us from the United Arab Emirates. Hi, Austin. Good morning. Federal government. Now let's see if we can understand perhaps some silent tones. Austin, can you hear me? Well, that doesn't sound like Austin can hear us there. Well, we'll just take a short break. We do have other matters rising from the aviation area. For instance, remember the Ethiopian airline issue. They are to acquire a major stake in Nigeria's new national carrier. We will also look into that. But I think we have Austin now. Austin, can you hear me now? Good morning, Austin. Well, seems like Austin cannot hear me. We'll take that break now. When we come back, we have a load of conversations just waiting from you, from the aviation sector to the agri-food security. It's all happening here on Business Morning in just a minute. Yeah, welcome back. I believe Austin Edeko is now ready to have that conversation, telling us about some, maybe what he's been nosing around to find out why the UAE government has decided to ban visas from Nigeria. Hi, Mr. Edeko. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Victoria. Thank you again for having me.
All right. My name is Ini, actually. So,
sorry, Ini.
Yeah, it's fine. All right. So, we just saw this, and then in the news, we're told there's no announced reason for the UAE government banning the visas of Nigerians. Have you heard of anything? You're in the travel industry over there. What are some of the things you have been able to glean from conversations around?
Okay, all right. Before I go into that, I have to first of all thank the ambassador and the consul general regarding the repatriation of 542 Nigerians, over the weekend who were actually stranded here. It was a commendable thing. They actually, moved swiftly to get those stranded Nigerians out of United Arab Emirates. Now, coming to your question, the UAE, they have certain ways of doing their thing, okay? But I can tell you the ban is strongly related to security issues. There are security concerns about Nigerians living in United Arab Emirates, from cultism, cybercrime, prostitution, overstay, human trafficking, gang war, and, amongst others, so it's a huge concern for them. Not to forget that United Arab Emirates is a tourist destination. They are spending a lot of money to welcome the world. So anything that would dent the name UAE as a brand, they frown at it. So day in, day out, these issues, challenges keep happening on a massive scale. So this is one of the major reasons why they put a stop to it. And, meeting with the government, they want to sit with the authorities in Nigeria and in UAE to provide a lasting solution before the portal will be open.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, such negative sentiments will be attached to Nigeria and Nigerians. Unfortunately, very unfortunate. But are there other countries affected by this, or is it just Nigeria?
Yeah, well, there are other countries affected, by these Ugandas, I think a bit of Kenya. But when you look at the proportion where out of every 10 crimes being committed, 6 are from Nigeria. So this is where it becomes very, very, very alarming. And why is this? A long time ago, over a year now, work permits have not been granted to Nigerians for so many reasons. So now for those who are hoping against hope that they will get work permits, fortunately they have to pay their rent, they have to move around, they have to pay their light bills, they have to, leave. What do you expect? So there is some level of criminality growing, among those who are out of job. So many ladies and young men who were deceived into the country, with the promises of better jobs. So what would they turn to? So this is the reason why we mainly have this increase in a crime and criminality from the Nigerian nationals. Not that it's peculiar, but again, the proportion, considering the number of us living here, is very, very alarming right now.
Yeah, I guess the long-term solution would be for Nigeria to be made comfortable for Nigerians, and then Nigerians would not have to start traveling to other countries. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, okay, sorry, I just quickly add yes, we understand, yes, making the country great or greater is a welcome development. But again, you cannot stop people from moving. It's a global world these days, and people can move from one point to the other. So we are appealing on the President Muhammadu Buhari, to please, put all machineries in place, because so very many persons are out of jobs, so very many, because of the visa ban, and this has come in again. So many persons have investments here in UAE. How would they come in? So many persons have conferences to attend. So many persons have workshops to attend. So many persons have trainings to attend. How would they come in? So we are calling on the highest authority, that's His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, to step in, to reassure these people, to say, please, we will put measures in place to fix this.
Yeah.
Just let my people go. Thank you.
Let my people go sounds familiar, but I guess Nigerians too have to be determined. You don't have to turn to negativity because things are hard. Then everybody would have been a criminal.
Yes, we are doing that from our unit,
okay.
Nigeria.
Yeah.
We are sensitizing our people. We are talking, liaising with the embassy and the consulate on how to educate our people. Please shun crime, shun crime.
Exactly. We can't
want to lead legitimately here.
Yeah, we can't put everything at the doorstep of the government. Austin Edeko, Chief Executive Officer of Gateway Travels and Tours. Thank you so much for your thoughts this morning.
Me. Thank you.
Yeah, still staying within that sector now. We do know that in Ethiopia now, Nigerians cannot enjoy the visa on arrival. Apart from that, we have Ethiopia Airline as proposed to be a major stakeholder in national carrier in Nigeria. And of course, that has been generating a whole lot of reactions. We have joining us now Mr. Chris Aligwe, former manager of Nigeria Airways, in the studio this time around. Mr. Aligwe, thank you so much for your patience there. We had to take Austin from Dubai. So I don't think I've seen any positive reaction to this proposal that Ethiopian Airline is going to, because the plan is that Ethiopian Airline will own 49,000 stake in the new airline, while Nigerian Sovereign Fund will take 46%. Oh, sorry, I think I said 49,000. 49% is what Ethiopian Airline will own. Then Nigerian Sovereign Fund will own 46%, and then Nigerian federal government will take 5%. I haven't seen from the associations in the sector, I haven't seen a positive reaction to this. What was your first thought or reaction?
Thank you very much. I think the equity shareholding is not just Nigerian Sovereign Fund. It's a SACO, MRS. Those are the two Nigerian equity holders for now announced, and the government 5%. I think the reactions coming from the industry is quite unfortunate, sad, because many of them don't even have the information. First, they mix up partnership with equity holding. There are two different things completely. Ethiopian Airline is not a partner. It's holding shares. A partner has a stronger hold when is a partner in a business. It can determine a lot of the directions, where the aircraft will be leased, where the aircraft will be maintained, a whole lot of them. But as a shareholder, it will determine, things will be determined along with other shareholders, where the direction of the airline. So first and foremost, a lot of things I've analyzed, who I've talked about, spoke on the basis of partnership. Ethiopian Airline is not a partner to Nigeria Air.
Yeah, but I think also the worrying factor there might be that they're going to own 49%. That's a controlling share.
Well, for an individual, the highest equity holder by an individual, yes, that is correct. Okay, but all Nigeria as a whole, federal government and Nigerians are holding 51%. So 49% cannot be cannot control 51%. But having said that, there are arguments here and there. But the fact of the matter is that the first thing people are looking at is that what are the benefits of Nigeria Air? what are the challenges we have today? First and foremost, what is the Ethiopian airline bringing to Nigerian Air? They are bringing technical competence. They are the best, at least, in the continent, even beyond the continent. In terms of, in the area of technical competence, Ethiopian airline has schedule integrity, technical integrity. They can operate their airlines with schedule. They have schedule integrity. We don't have it anymore in our country. The only airline that is making efforts today is Ibom Air to have schedule integrity. If you book Ibom Air, you know you have booked an airline, you will get your flight almost on time. But most other things we don't have. So what are they bringing in? They're bringing that. They're bringing their technical competencies, which we have lost in our country since the unfortunate liquidation of Nigeria Airways. All our first-class engineers, pilots, and technical crew, they are gone. They are geriatric. Many of them are 70s. And then the other day we were talking about the youngest of those people are now the DG of NCAA. That's the youngest.
But what's going to happen to domestic airlines, you know, if this goes through? I think I can still say if it goes through, what's going to happen? Because they're also talking about the competition and how it might stifle the domestic sector.
Well, you use if. Let me use when. When it goes through. If we go through, yes, there are challenges now which should be taken out at the highest level. But the fact of the matter is that domestic airlines are talking about what will happen to them. They're not talking about what will happen to the major stakeholders in the travel industry. The Nigerian passenger is the major stakeholder. And so what will happen to me as a passenger? What will happen to teeming millions of Nigerians who travel by air? What is happening to us today? Competition is what we need in this country in order for the industry to take off. If there's no competition, we will not move in this country. That's first and foremost. So Nigerian Air should come in and compete effectively. It should set the benchmark. Today, there's no benchmark in the industry. I just told you, the airline that is trying to set some benchmark is Ibom Air. I stand to be challenged on that. There's no benchmark. It's a long time. Anything goes in the industry.
Yeah, but they're going to still be operating in the environments where these other ones are operating. They're still going to be faced with the challenges of aviation fuel, which has skyrocketed. They're still going to be faced with the N factor, you know, that stifles or is a hurdle to the growth of businesses. They're still going to be faced with the realities of operating in Nigeria. So it doesn't mean that they're just going to be invisible and so above all of these other things.
I do agree. In the Nigerian aviation sector, like in any other sector, there are external problems, challenges. There are internal challenges. As of today, we have told most of our colleagues who are in the airline industry, their business models are not good to operate in the environment. They have a different business models. You don't use a 737 where you should use a smaller aircraft to operate. You make no money. You don't use an old aircraft that guzzles fuel, where there are new aircraft that will say 1.5 tons of fuel to fly. You use the one that is using 3 tons of fuel. So your business model is not good. And if you have a good business model, you will face the challenges. Challenges are there to be faced. But let me tell you, even aviation fuel is not cheaper in any other country. Most countries. So airlines operate with the cost of aviation fuel. What you can say, the challenge we have today is forex, that our airlines are not getting forex to maintain their aircraft as and that went due. But if you have a Nigerian Air operating very well, and particularly beginning its international operation, it will earn forex. Today, no airline.
You think it will earn forex?
It will earn.
Okay, earn it.
If you operate, yes, okay. You will earn it.
Okay.
Okay, and it
might reduce the pressure that we see in that space.
Certainly, it will. And that's the truth. That's the truth of it. So there are challenges. There are external challenges, but there are internal challenges. There are corporate governance issues, serious corporate governance issues affecting the airlines.
So do you see this Nigeria Air? We've been talking about it for a while, and now the president has said it will start working by December. That's just that's just after I mean, next week is November, then after that is December. So if I want to travel for Christmas, I can use Nigeria Air.
I sincerely pray that it comes on. Okay? It will come on, but I sincerely pray. But for it to come on at that point, at this point, so much has to be done. We've come to the point that the president himself, who made this promise, even before ever he got into the government, the minister is just driving the position of the president because president made that position before he came. It is time that president should call all the people involved and read them a riot act. If he doesn't, he will not meet his December timing.
And then it will be on record that the president promised us that by December 2022, Nigeria Air will start functioning, and we didn't see it.
That is why I say he had better call all the people involved. It is beyond, what is happening now is beyond the ministry. CBN is involved, finance is involved, the civil service is involved because they are operating this through civil service rule, TSA, procurement. You don't operate an airline on that basis. Airline, if airline has a problem, there's a tire burst, and you want to go through procurement, you call 3 companies to advertise. You will not take off. So the earlier they take it out from there and operate it, see it as a business, the better. I think it's high time we did that, and I sincerely hope. I know that the airline will take off, but the date of December will not be met if riot act is not read to all the people involved. There are about 4 institutions involved. Murphy, Ministry of Finance and Corporation involved. CBN is involved. Ministry of Aviation is involved. And one other agency. They should be put together. And it is the responsibility of the president who gave this nation this promise that this will happen to read the riot act to all those involved.
So there you go, President Muhammadu Buhari. We are looking up to you, expecting that by December, Nigeria Air will be functional. Because I know that Mr. Aligbe wants to travel like Christmas.
I want to travel.
And you want to be on Nigeria Air.
And I think Nigerians want to travel.
All right, thank you so much. Former General Manager of Nigeria Airways, Mr. Chris Aligbe, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you. So let's take a break now, a short break, a very short one, because we have other conversations. Remember also that on Friday, or Thursday or Friday, the startup bill was signed into law. So it's now Start-up Act. And we'll be having this conversation and trying to push it. Now we've finally gotten it. Then what's next? We'll have that conversation after the break. Just stay with us. This is Business Morning on Channels Television. It's now the Nigeria Startup Act. It's been passed into law and is recognized as the Nigeria Startup Act 2022, over a year after its first draft was produced. The President Muhammadu Buhari, assented to the NBS, which is targeted at the growth of the country's tech ecosystem. Well, we've been talking about this with Omori Edoigiawere, Member Communication and Strategy Communications Team with Nigerian Startup Bill Secretariat. This is good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you on the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, I think, in place here.
Yes, congratulations.
I mean, you're beaming with smile.
Very, very happy and excited for the prospects and the promise of the act.
I'm sure you're going to remember this administration for a very long time.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Very long time, because this is landmark. It's a landmark act, and that is going to really position Nigeria as a leader in the regional startup ecosystem.
Yeah, but I mean, not automatically. If we don't use it, if we don't put it to action, it's an act. If we don't act on it, we will not be that leader. I mean, we have e-Naira now, but I mean, I don't know how many people are using e-Naira. We're the first on the continent to have the CBDC, the central bank was that CBDC, digital currency.
Digital currency,
you know.
Yes.
But how many people are really using it? So if we have this act, yes, it's laudable, we are celebrating it, but if we don't act on it, it's just going to be there, a paper.
Oh, yes. So the startups, the last time I was here, one of the things I said was that startups are innovative, they are restless, and they want to work. They don't have time for bottlenecks or anomalies or bureaucracy. And one of the things that the Act has come to do is to cut out all those bureaucracy, give them the ease, give them that light rail, right? That speed train to thrive and do phenomenal things. This is going to be the first law that has come into the fore with active involvement of private sector players. I mean the private sector, for instance, but I have been at the forefront with a lot of phenomenal people pushing for the Act. The drafting had sector players part of the process. The consultation had sector players part of the process. The defense had sector players part of the process. So not just the regulators, not just the government. So the implementation, which is just as important as actually the passage, is also a joint effort. The idea is to leave no one behind. The truth is, these startups are going to be regulated. These startups are going to be given the support they need. They are thriving all the same, but this time in a better place, with a better plane. So I don't think that this will be business as usual. I think that this time what we have is going to be a law that everyone can rely on, that has something in place for every startup.
So you don't think that a new administration will bring a change to the speed that we hope to see?
No, because one of the beautiful things of having a law is that once it's a law, it is binding on every successive administration. So it's an agenda that has been set that every administration just needs to come and follow. And the truth is, when this is not a political law or act, it's one that has enormous capacity to boost the economy.
Except a politician gets interested or has a child or a relative that...
Well, the labeling process is very clear. The law provides for labeling, right? And it gives very clear guidelines for meeting the requirements. If you meet the requirements, you apply, you become labeled. If you get labeled, you begin to reap the benefits. But right now, the focus is even on state adoption, getting the states to contextualize the benefits of the bill, getting the states to create contextual policy frameworks for startups in their ecosystem, right? I had said before that one of the most important things that the bill would do, even for the states, is that while they bring home the benefits for startups in their states, it also creates a competitive edge, right? In civilized jurisdictions or in more developed jurisdictions, you find that every state is trying to make ease of business better to attract more people, right? We must begin to look, if we're going to be looking beyond an oil-based economy, one of the things we have to focus on is data, is technology, is innovation, because that is the new oil. And if that is the new oil, you have to create an enabling environment. So it's not just a federal law. It's not just an act that will guide at the federal level. It is one that the states are going to latch on to, contextualize, bring home to their states. So
is that what the Secretariat is doing now, trying to get the states to adopt it?
Oh, yes, yes. So even before assent was granted, there's been state engagement. Some states have already, like I said, Lagos State, Anambra State, Yobe State. Some states have taken active steps to adopt the bill. Now the Act, right?
Yeah,
so,
Act.
And then, begin to contextualize the benefits for startups in their states. What is most important now are collaborative efforts. Collaborating with sector players to ensure that no one is left behind. In the immediate, we expect that the gazetted version of the Act is made available to the public, because we've seen a couple of versions of the bill, which, but right now we ask people to wait to receive the gazetted version.
Okay, then they can work with that.
Yes, and then they can work with that.
So how soon do we expect that, and how soon should we expect implementation of the Act?
So implementation is in stages. Implementation has already started with stakeholder engagement, because, for instance, you have the startup portal. The startup portal is going to involve a lot of regulators. It's important that everybody is on board, and like I said, you leave no one behind. So you have everyone on board to give full effect and full steam, so that nobody drags you back. A train moves, no one stops it. So you don't want anyone to drag you back.
And you're as strong as your weakest link anyway.
Yes, very, very true. Very
All right,
true.
thank you so much, Omoru Edoigware. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations once again. We'll
Thank
certainly
you.
be following you.
Oh, yes.
To see that this doesn't just end in the paper. It's not just one of those policies that, come and go. And we hope to feel the impact in the economy. In our next GDP, we'll see what's happening with startups. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, and lovely place.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's take a short break now. When we come back, that thing that concerns you, food security, well, we'll talk about that. This is Business Morning on Channels Television. You're welcome back. Yeah, what do you see behind me? That's something that concerns you. We did promise you conversations that are relevant and current, and that's what we're doing. Food security is up next, and we've been talking about food security from the perspective of the crops, especially with the flood. We've seen what it's done to farmers. But now, with the volatility in the price of grains, what has been happening to our poultry? Well, we have joining us here someone who will give us first-hand information, the Managing Director of OTAP Synergy Farms and Agro-Allied Limited, Mr. Salam Habib, joining us in the studio. Good morning, Mr. Habib.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so much for your time. How is poultry? This time hasn't been good for a lot of farmers. We've seen what the flood has done, but we've also seen in your own part now the price of grain, which is a major ingredient to feed the poultry. What's the updates in your space?
All right, thank you very much. I think most importantly, we should look at the reasons why we have this high increase in the cost of grain. Presently, Nigeria is producing about just 10 million metric tons of maize locally, and we actually need about 15 million metric tons of maize in Nigeria. In fact, about 75% of these grains that are produced locally are actually being used by the poultry industry, because that poultry industry alone is the most arranged subsector of agriculture in Nigeria, and there is no way you are going to make animal feed. The least maize that you can use in any animal feed is about 60% of the total mix of the feed. So what are the challenges that is facing? One, we have the challenge of low yield. Presently in Nigeria, we are not producing what we are supposed to be producing. Our yield per hectare is about 2 tons per hectare, while other countries are doing about 10 tons per hectare. So, and also the insecurity, the banditry event, the flood, and the war between Russia and Ukraine is also because we import most of this maize from Russia, Brazil, and America, and the United States of America. So we really need to look into investing locally on how to improve our yield in terms of maize production in Nigeria. We need about 15 million metric tons. Nigeria is using
metric tons every day, every year?
No, annually. 15 million metric tons annually. That is what we need. And there is also an opportunity for exports, because while other African countries are bringing in other countries beyond Africa are bringing in maize into Africa, we can actually do a local production. Nigeria can actually export to other African countries, and we can make half our dollars from it. So
when you say we need to invest, what specific areas do we need to focus on? All right.
Number one, we need to start mechanizing agriculture in Nigeria. Presently, Nigeria has the tractor per hectare for a farming household in Nigeria is 0.78%. the FAO requirement is 1.5 hectare, 1.5 horsepower per hectare. So we really need to have fully mechanized farms that can actually do the job, not these smallholder farmers, not these subsistence farmers that are doing the farming presently.
So is it possible for instance, as an individual, I decide to be an investor, is it attractive enough for me to say, I have a park where I just have tractors and then farmers can come and hire? Is it a good investment from your perspective?
Yes, it is. It is. Presently, we don't have enough tractor hiring companies in Nigeria. And as a matter of fact, the big companies that are into the production of tractors, we don't really have them here in Nigeria, staying here in Nigeria. The most commonest one is Mr. Ferguson, and I don't think they really have their assembly plant.
Why do you think, we have a lot of Nigerians who I think have funds and they're looking for investment where they can multiply their money. Why do you think it's not catching their attention?
Because of the technical know-how, because of the risk involved. And basically, that's the reason why most people doesn't really want to invest in agriculture. As we speak, the Nigerian demand for poultry, our local production is meeting just 30% of our demand in Nigeria. There is vast opportunity in that area, just 30%. Nigerians are only consuming 60, on the average, per capita, 60 eggs per capita, as against, compared to what they are consuming in the United States as an individual, 250 eggs per capita. Nigerians are consuming 0.7 kg, 1.7 kg of meat, broiler meat, per capita, while in the United States, they are doing about 50 kg per capita as individual. So the opportunity is there, but the risk, we need to mechanize. And even the risk comes down to the issue of mechanization and making sure that agriculture is attractive to the youth and the investors.
All right, I guess that's what we're trying to do here. Mr. Salam Habib, the Managing Director of OTAP Synergy Farms and Agri-Allied, will preach the message here and make it plain that this is an opportunity, for investors to come and help mechanize the agri sector.
And of course, very important.
It will mean more food and on the table of Nigerians at affordable prices too. That's very important.
Because there will be a lot of competition when you mechanize. There's going to be a lot of production. We can actually look into export as well.
And it will reduce the demand on FX.
Yes.
And help to boost the value of Naira.
Yes. Thank you very much.
I guess it's a win-win. Thank you so much, Mr. Salam Habib, for your time this morning.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so as Mr. Habib takes his leave, Will Ibon walks in to give us the market.
Good morning.
Good morning, Will. You look good. Are you going for a party or something?
Yes, it's a party in the market.
I think
it's a party in the market.
You have a plan for the market
this week. Yes, I do. It's just watch and see how I make the market players, roll.
Oh, okay.
Now, we're just going to kick off with trading in the Forex market. We did see a slide in equities trading, but that's for later. FX was mostly positive, except for the Naira index. We saw positive trade across board, and that was up by 58.58% to close at $718 million. That's about $780 million. We saw FX, that's the FX spot, that's the I&E window. If we zoom in closely, we'll see that the I&E window was up by 36.06% last week, and it closed at 401 total transactions, $401 million of stocks traded in that place. Now we're seeing a lot of positive sentiments in that direction, and we're wondering what's really happening, but I'm sure probably is a boost in the oil sector and the rest of it, but not in Nigeria's oil, but maybe investors are probably seeing maybe positive outlook for the market, and we'll get more insights into that later. Now, on the other hand, we saw the Naira value dropping by about 0.15% to 440 Naira 76 kobo against the dollar at the NAFEX window, in contrast to 740 naira, 8 kobo recorded in the previous week. We're seeing this continuous drop. This is the NAFEX we know, but we're not talking about the market that is not spoken about. That is really about 750 naira at the moment to a dollar. Now we also see that the FX, the bond market, the bond space and the fixed income space really bearish sentiments that the yields are continuing to climb up there, and investors were, distracted by the primary auction, the bond auction that took place on Monday last week. But we have Odinaka Linus Wonkoko, fixed income dealer at Access Bank, to give us more insight about what's going on in the market. Good morning, Linus.
Hi, good morning, Willie.
Now, we continue to see a rise in the yields for bonds and treasury bills, and that's on one hand. We also saw Moody's downgrading Nigeria from B2 to B3. How would that work out for investors? What sentiments do you think that would affect?
Okay, so I'll start with the rising bond market yields. So what we've seen play out last week was auction closed at 16% on the 2037, which is the longest tenor trading paper. This is also coming from where it closed previously at 14.5. But post-auction, we saw a bit of rally. This could be attributed to the reinvestment of coupon proceeds of 2037, which came in about 65 billion. So we saw that paper trading around 15.80%. So coming to your question on Moody's downgrade. So Moody downgraded Nigeria from B2 to B3. So we are now same rating with Angola. So in the market, what you try and be seeing in the local market is not a bit of reaction, because institutional clients don't have any other investments to make. It's just the naira, so you're not going to see any reaction. Alternatively, economically, what you should have seen is sell-off on the Eurobond market, but that's not what is happening currently. In fact, as of this morning, Eurobond market is kind of strong. We've seen a lot of lifts in the Eurobond market, especially the Nigerian paper. So this could be attributed as a result because there's really no other alternative. The three most traded Eurobond papers in terms of country, they are the Nigerian, Angola, and Ghana. So Ghana is really not a place investors want to play, considering the weak yields. We are seeing almost the short end, almost trading at 68%.
Okay, so Odinaka, just to jump in, do you think there's still more headroom for yields? You just talked about Eurobonds still trading up. Do you think there's still more headroom for yields to go higher?
Yes, in the local market, there is. When you see what is happening across the world, you are seeing rates rising. Also, even in Nigeria here, we are seeing even the money market at 16%, which is a short-term play. Bond yields is also at 16%. So there's still much room for increase in yield. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Odinaka Linus Wonkoko, fixed income dealer, Access Bank, for sharing your insights with us. So, that's where we'll round up for the market. But I was talking about the equities market, where it closed bloody 6%, over 6% down.
You don't have to tell me.
Now, yet to date, 3 points, from these about 15% levels we opened the quarter with. It is really bloody at the equities market at the moment. As you can see on the board, this is the lowest since we've had in January the 18th, and this is. Well, I don't know. It's more like investors are going to be looking at it as, is it negative?
Maybe long-term investors will want to take advantage of the dip.
Maybe so. We're hoping for a positive one.
All right, Will, thank you so much for the market. And we'll go straight to London, where Juliana is standing by. Juliana, thank God it's Monday. Good to have you on the show. But I don't know what's going on there. We know Rishi Sunak has been making the news as a prospective new prime minister. I hope he knows that he has a lot waiting for him if he gets into office.
Good morning, Innie. You're absolutely right. There is so much that the new Prime Minister has to tackle, and I think it's almost certain now that Rishi Sunak, the former Chancellor, will be handed the keys to number 10 as soon as 2:15, when we're going to get the announcement. The ballot closes at 2. The last time I checked, Rishi Sunak was way in the lead with 178 MPs, which is the majority of the party, because there are, I believe, about 354 Conservative MPs. Penny Mordaunt way behind with only 25 MPs publicly declaring their support for her. And then, of course, over the weekend, nobody was really surprised that Boris Johnson, the predecessor of Liz Truss, pulled out because he didn't really have the support of the party. There are three main areas that Rishi is going to have to address. First of all, the economy. We know it's in a huge state at the moment. We just got PMI flash data this morning showing that business optimism and confidence is low. GDP for the month of August dipped. We think we are going to head into a recession. There is going to be a winter of discontent, strikes across the board. Then, of course, there's the UK political situation, because according to the latest YouGov result, 70% of the British public want a general election. They're just not happy with the fact that the Conservative Party is shuffling around amongst themselves. If you have been in power for 12 years, it is going to be difficult to galvanise that public support. That's what happened to Gordon Brown after the Tony Blair, Liz. And thirdly, we've got to talk about the Conservative Party that are anything but united at the moment. You know, Boris Johnson, whether or not people liked him, he was still popular amongst Conservative MPs and the wider Conservative Party, who were not happy that they believe he was ousted out of the office and he is the only person who has a mandate. So there's a lot to go on, but yes, it's almost certain Rishi Sunak is going to be coronated Prime Minister today, and we just have to wait and see how the markets react to that.
Yeah, unfortunately, Juliana, by the time it's 1:30 for Business Incorporated, we would still be waiting. But I saw this morning the market, I think the currency, the pound is already bouncing and all of that. But we'll talk about all of that. You'll be having Will in the afternoon for Business Incorporated. I'm sure the market will be bouncing by then, so we'll have that conversation.
Thanks, Ine.
All right, talking of the markets now, we have... Ladi?
Yeah,
is it Ladi? Is that your name?
Yeah, we have Ladi,
okay,
yeah.
All right. I almost forgot. I thought it was crypto. And I was
No, it's Ladi, actually.
Oh, okay, Ladi. Tell me, the crypto is...
Thank God it's Monday, but, you know, it was supposed to be October, you know, but October's almost ending, but I didn't see the up, you know, in this month, talking about the crypto market.
It's up November.
So maybe it will be an up November. But what do we have in the sentiment? There's extreme fear, 22 points. We've been stuck here for a while now. Let's look at the market cap for the crypto space there, 932.45, up 1.11%. We see dominance there below 40%. Let's bring in Olumide Additional now, financial market analyst. Tell us what's going on. Hello, Olumide, great to have you.
Thanks, Ladi.
Yeah, happy Monday. Last week, not so bad, but we've seen, you know, Bitcoin there stuck between 19.3 and about 20,300 for this month. So it's not October. How are you seeing it, and what do you see coming for November?
Ladi, I think this is a very tough call. Knowing fully well the cascade of market reaction in the currency market, you could see that despite the Bank of Japan interfering in the yen, is still getting weaker, and that's because investors are really throwing their lots into the safe haven currency, that's the US dollar. But, you know, interesting, the dynamics in the crypto market shows stability. Just like you rightly said, Bitcoin is still holding the $19,000 mark, despite the fact we're seeing the US dollar index rallying about 0.5% and this morning. And that's pretty much for two reasons. Institutional investors are massively gathering Bitcoin assets, particularly on Binance and Coinbase. Secondly, we are also seeing retail participation also increasing. Bloomberg survey analysis recently suggests that 65% of retail investors are pretty much interested in the crypto market. So it tells you that there's still positivity about the market attraction. But, you know, the rallying dollar and growing geopolitical concern really suppress that price level. But, you know, it's left to be seen. Jobs report coming this coming Friday, and next week's US Fed meeting might really put a tap and seal Bitcoin's fate this quarter, you know, Ladi. So all right. I think it's...
Yeah, so much to look out for. But watching out for this week and next week, but volatility is always expected. Thank you so much, Olumide Additional, financial market analyst.
Thank you.
All right, so Ini, there you have it. It's we're still expecting more volatility in this market.
We haven't hit the rock bottom yet.
Yeah, but some say it's close, but who knows?
Who knows? Maybe we'll end the year at the rock, and then we can start the new year at the top.
At the top.
Hopefully.
Merci.
I'm not a prophet. All right, Laddie, thank you so much.
All right.
All right, so that's the show for this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of it. It's been exciting for me. I hope it's been for you, and you've at least gathered one or two information that would help you all through your business day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Meanwhile, 1:30, Willie Bond will be here to give you an update from the world of business, and certainly we will have our eyes on the UK and see, well, by then, according to Juliana, we're looking at 2:30, but at least we'll see how the markets will be reacting to the probability of him becoming the next prime minister. I'll see you at 10 p.m. for the stock market report. We'll see how the equities does today. We'll bring you that report. But for now, I'm Ini Jodmekwa, and enjoy the rest of your business day.